Happening now, an investigation is underway following a house fire in Jamestown that ignited ammo stored in the residence. And a look at the new splash pads, which could be coming to a park near you this summer. Plus, a local cheer group is getting ready for a national competition. Today, we're celebrating the talents of these young athletes.
Live and on demand, this is WNY News Now.
Thank you for joining us for WNY News Now. I'm Bronson Rasmussen in for Justin Gould. Those stories and more are coming up, but first, a malfunctioning air fryer is blamed for sparking a house fire on Jamestown's north side. Around 6:16 Monday night, the Jamestown Fire Department was dispatched to 214 Stowe Street. Video from WNY News Now viewer Eric Rhodes documented the extent of the blaze, with heavy flames and smoke engulfing the resident's first floor. The video also captured what appears to be ammunition exploding as a result of the intense heat from flames. An investigation found that an air fryer caused an electrical outlet in the building's kitchen to fail, sparking the flames. The homeowner discovered the fire and quickly called 911. While human occupants from the home escaped without injury, one dog and other small pets perished. The Red Cross has since been called to assist with the living arrangements for the family, for the three potentially that were displaced. While a threat against Ashoka County School has been determined to be fake. Ashoka County Sheriff's Office investigated an email threatening the superintendent of Clymer Central School on Monday. Working with the FBI, the department deemed the email was part of a statewide threat that appears to be a hoax sent to various Western New York and New York City schools. As a precaution, though, the county sheriff's K-9 units searched the interior and exterior of the school building. Deputies say the matter remains under investigation. Well, the Jamestown Mayor's Office, after many years of promises, have brought forward a proposal to the Jamestown City Council to bring 2 splash pads to the Pearl City.
To ensure that our kids have equitable access to splash pads. So as part of that, we looked at 2 locations, Jackson Taylor Park and Allen Park.
Made with a 4-inch concrete base, users of the pads will press a button to start the water flow at a rate of 45 gallons per minute and operate on a time-based system. The pads could also be manually shut down to conserve water.
They come with different features, some shooting out of the ground, some shooting up from different various trees and structures and things like that. They're all based on a button system, so you press the button and then it activates for a period of time and then turns off.
Concerns heard from the council include sanitary worries. To combat this, the 2 locations would not use a circulating water system.
Circulating water system means we have a set amount of water that would be in there, that it would continue to circulate back and forth. We would then require New York State testing. We would have to have a bunch of additional staff in order to maintain it and manage it. In talking with the engineers for this, they actually recommended that we go with just I don't know what they call it, freshwater system. So it would be water that you would see from your tap.
Other highlighted topics include the safety of the pads. Resident Doug Champ brought up how the CDC believes that splash pads are not safe. Others also worry the locations could be subject to vandalism. The 2 locations will cost $500,000 in total. This includes the installation of the pads and extra contingency funds. But it will not include maintenance costs. The mayor is also waiting on a possible $100,000 grant to go towards a $500,000 price tag. Now 2 meetings are planned to be held to gauge public feedback on the splash pads. The first will be held at the Allen Park Ice Arena on March 30th at 6 p.m., and the other will be held on April 11th at Jackson Taylor Park's Pavilion at 6 p.m., with that one alongside the HUD Action Plan Community Input Meeting. If funded this month, Mayor Sundquist says the pads could be in operation by early July. The New York State University of New York Chancellor visited Jamestown Community College on Monday. John King, who was appointed to the role in December, visited SUNY JCC as an effort to tour each of the 64 SUNY institutions across New York State. The Chancellor spent the morning visiting Jamestown campus while chatting with student ambassadors and JCC's president. He toured the Manufacturing Technology Institute, where he observed an industrial maintenance technician class, and he also visited residence halls and dropped by the nursing department. Furthermore, the Chancellor met with faculty and staff to determine how SUNY can support the college and closed out the morning with members of JCC's President Cabinet. Well, switching gears a little bit, Old Man Winter is back in the city of Jamestown today after a blast of snow fell across Ashoka County and Cattaraugus counties overnight. And Andrew, it may be snow, but at least this one looks pretty on the trees, don't you think?
At least it didn't last very long. We got a couple hours of some heavy snow, and now the sun has returned. Our live look over Mayville from the Mayville Sky Cam, and we have partly sunny skies out there with the freshly fallen snow of about an inch in Mayville. Here's some weather photos from last night. It looked like a winter wonderland in downtown Jamestown. These photos come courtesy of Jared Paxton of the Winter Wonderland from downtown Jamestown. If you have any weather photos you'd like to share with us, you can always share it with us on social media, the First Defense weather page, WNY News Now, and use that hashtag MyLocalWX. The high yesterday, we made it to a high of 38 degrees and the low was 24. The record high for today was 71 degrees, set back last year in 2022, and the record low of negative 16, set back in 1978. So for the rest of the afternoon out there, partly sunny skies out there, seasonably chilly day with highs today in the low to mid 30s and a northwest wind of 15 to 20 miles per hour. I'll have a look at those snowfall totals from the past 24 hours in the full forecast coming up in just a few minutes.
All right, Andrew, we'll see you then. As WNY News Now continues, an update on a fatal concert stampede in our region as death tolls rise. And later, new regulations are in the works to better break down what's in our beef. Stay with us as WNY News Now will be right back.
With coverage that matters, this is WNY News Now.
So you think you can cook? Chefs test their skills, competing in a charity cooking show competition that features a platter of unusual ingredients, including popular local cuisine.
Davison's fish fry with some French fries.
Judged by a panel of local celebs, So You Think You Can Cook, produced by Channel 716. All proceeds raised to benefit the St. Susan Center in Jamestown, New York.
EagleZip.com is your local one-stop shop for all of your home and business computer needs. Located on Fluvan Avenue Extension, just outside of Jamestown, EagleZip.com sells and services all brands of desktops and laptops, as well as servers and network equipment for your business. All new computer sales include transferring your data from your old computer plus a 2-year warranty. Call EagleZip.com today.
Stop by EagleZip.com today and let us make computers easy for you.
On this episode of Lead and Lures, pro staffer and lethal lady Caitlin Armstrong takes out her big Ohio buck. Months of hard work, dedication, and scouting have led her to this moment. You're not going to want to miss this episode of Lead and Lures on Channel 716 Roku TV. And if you want to see more of Caitlin Armstrong, follow her on YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram.
You know, hunting
Caitlin
on
Armstrong
private land has been quite the experience.
You're watching WNY News Now, where coverage comes first.
The death toll rose to 2 on Monday following a stampede at a rap concert in Rochester, New York, that authorities said may have been triggered by unfounded fears of gunfire. Entertainers Gloria and Finesse 2 Times were performing at the Main Street Armory when people thought they heard gunfire inside the venue. Shortly before 11 p.m., that triggered panic and people started to rush towards the exits. Police say that 2 people remain in critical condition and an investigation is underway to determine what led to the tragedy.
As the night went on, an additional 7 people arrived at local hospitals with non-life-threatening injuries from the event. Preliminary reports from people at the scene indicate that these injuries were caused from people being trampled. We do not have any evidence of gunshots being fired or of anyone being shot or stabbed at the scene.
Fatal crowd surges have been a reoccurring disaster at concerts and other large events in the U.S. and around the world, including one at a 2021 concert by rapper Travis Scott in which 10 people died. While we have continuing coverage today on the Medicaid pharmacy carve-out, our New York Capitol correspondent Elise Klein speaks to advocates and lawmakers about what the issue looks like in the legislature.
Today, advocates traveled to Albany, urging the governor and legislatures to stop the carve-out of pharmacy benefits from NYRX, a Medicaid program.
It's a complete decimation of the healthcare system, a gutting of the healthcare system as it exists today in New York State. Lots of people will be affected, numerous programs.
The carve-out will essentially transition enrolled Medicaid members from Medicaid-managed care plans to fee-for-service programs, which some lawmakers say is having an inadvertent impact on the revenue streams for 340B, a federal Medicaid program that allows safety net providers to get reimbursement for the prescription drugs they purchase. Some advocates are worried this transition will negatively impact the safety net providers who give care to residents regardless of their ability to pay and ultimately have negative health impacts on New Yorkers.
You can't just play with people's health care. There are people with HIV that now will be able to spread, those things are in place for a certain reason.
The carve-out originating in the legislature's 2020 state budget delayed implementation for 2 years, which expires on April 1st. About 2 weeks ago, Senator Gustavo Rivera sponsored a bill introduced in the legislature to repeal the pharmacy carve-out. This bill is still in committee. Some lawmakers say the pharmacy carve-out is a complex issue, but this transition could ultimately help establish greater transparency from pharmacy benefit managers, or PBMs.
For the last decade, PBMs and health plans to a degree have been able to operate using billions and billions of taxpayers' dollars without any accountability when it comes to the prescription drug benefit.
In Albany, Elise Klein, WNY News Now.
PA lawmakers have announced a 6-bill package containing legislation to address the teacher shortage. The bills address issues like minimum salary for Pennsylvania teachers, which is currently under $20,000. One of the proposed bills would raise the minimum salary to $50,000. The other bills create mentor programs, scholarships, grant programs, and call for loan forgiveness. Teachers say the program that would be created by the legislation are crucial during this shortage and would pave the way for the next generation of teachers.
Kids the support that they've been needing for a while now and have especially needed in the wake of the pandemic. The Grow Your Own programs that actually get kids, giving back to their communities and being supported by those communities, but all the way going through, the scholarship program. As a Apache alum, I definitely would have benefited from a program like that and not have been saddled with so much student debt so I could do other things as a teacher.
There's also a proposed 3-year tax incentive of up to $2,500 in a year for newly certified teacher, nurses, and police officers. While shoppers could soon find it easier to tell if those grocery store steaks or pork chops were really made in the USA. Federal agriculture officials on Monday released new requirements that would allow labels on meat, poultry, or eggs to use the phrase product of USA only if they come from animals born, raised, slaughtered, and processed in the United States. That's a sharp change from the current policy, which allows voluntary use of such labels on products from animals that have been imported from a foreign country and slaughtered in the U.S., but also on meat that's been imported and repackaged or further processed. Imports of beef from countries including Australia, Canada, and Brazil, for instance, account for about 12% of the total consumed in the U.S. And all we have to say to that is, where's the beef? Well, coming up, new safety measures are in the works following a rise of high-profile train crashes. And later, Ashoka County cheer group is headed to the national championship. We're celebrating the hard work of these young athletes. But first, we'll return with a look at our full weather forecast.
You're watching WNY News Now, where coverage comes first. WNY News Now is covering stories that matter to you.
There are two silver linings here. One, that no injuries were reported, and two, they were able to contain the fire from spreading further.
Western New York has a new congressional member representing them.
One of the things that made Betty White so unique was the fact that she connected generations of fans throughout the decades. Take a look at the display here.
WNY News Now, where coverage comes first.
I'm a survivor.
I'm a survivor. I'm a survivor.
Testicular cancer is the leading form of cancer in men aged 15 to 35.
1 in 250 men will be diagnosed with testicular cancer.
But 98% will survive if detected early.
As a survivor, I believe early detection is the key. Learn how to do a testicular self-exam and other important facts about testicular cancer at oneball4tc.com.
So you think you can cook? Chefs test their skills, competing in a charity cooking show competition that features a platter of unusual ingredients, including popular local cuisine.
Davison's fish fry with some French fries.
Judged by a panel of local celebs, So You Think You Can Cook, produced by Channel 716, all proceeds raised benefit the St. Susan Center in Jamestown, New York.
With coverage that matters, this is WNY News Now.
Fast, accurate, and everyday. First Defense Weather.
Welcome back to WNY News Now. Currently in downtown Jamestown, we're under partly sunny skies. The current temperature is 30 degrees at the Jamestown Airport with a north wind of 15 miles per hour, and that's making it feel like 19 degrees out there with a wind chill. So here's the weather headlines for the rest of the week. The sunshine is back for the day. We'll see a couple of light snow showers or snow flurries tonight, but otherwise it will be mainly dry weather tomorrow, Thursday, and through the early half of Friday. And then we'll be watching another system begin to impact the region later Friday into Saturday, and that could bring some more rain and snow and mixed precipitation to the area for Friday night into Saturday. Here's a look at the snowfall reports from the past 24 hours. Jamestown, this was a spotted report of 7.3 inches in Jamestown. The official report from the Jamestown Airport was 4.8 inches. Gary received 5.5 inches. Allegheny State Park in Cattaraugus County at 5 inches, Olean at 4.8 inches, Mayville 3.7, and Dunkirk saw just about an inch of snow over the past 24 hours. Here's what's happening across the Northeast right now. High pressure maintaining dry weather across much of the Great Lakes. There is a weak system up across the Ontario region that's going to bring some clouds back into the region later this afternoon and tonight, and maybe a couple snow flurries, but otherwise high pressure across Canada will keep us dry through the rest of the week into Friday. So let's time it out on future scan for the rest of the afternoon out there. Partly to mostly sunny skies, and then the clouds will increase from east to west later this afternoon and evening, with a couple of flurries again expected overnight, with cloudy skies mainly through the day tomorrow, and then Thursday there's going to be plenty of clouds around, but we might see a couple peaks of sunshine through the afternoon tomorrow and through the afternoon and Thursday, but really it's going to be a lot of clouds to deal with. And then we go in through the rest of the time on Thursday, mostly cloudy skies, and the mostly cloudy skies to start the day on Friday. So for tonight, partly mostly cloudy, couple of stray snow flurries possible with a north wind of 10 to 20 miles per hour. Lows tonight will range into 20s. And now the next 7 days from Ultimate Satellite Solutions. Temperatures over the next few days will be in the low to mid 30s. We'll be in the upper 30s on Friday. Start the day off dry, and then we'll watch for that next system. And then a couple of flurries to start the day off on Saturday. The weekend will be mainly dry outside of those couple of flurries with temperatures in the mid to upper 30s across the weekend.
All right, Andrew, here's a question for you. How long do you think that snow that we have is going to last?
With the sunshine, it should be melting over the next few days, but it is pretty out there.
Well, go enjoy it while you can. This could be the last snow that we see for the year.
I don't know about that.
Well, here's some headlines for you from around the nation. For Norfolk Southern, it's like deja vu all over again. On Saturday, one of the company's trains derailed in Springfield, Ohio. While there are no injuries reported in that accident, and the track in that area is reopened with no risk to nearby residents, but the derailment last month in Ohio did have hazardous materials, and the National Transportation Safety Board is taking a closer look. Norfolk Southern says it's addressing this issue with a 6-point plan focused on boosting safety, including the enhancement of the hot-bearing detectors, which can trigger an alarm if a potential failure or high temperatures are detected. The Environmental Protection Agency says the removal of contaminated soil in East Pascaline began on Saturday and could take up to 2 months to complete. Recent reports from the war in Ukraine outline intense fighting for important eastern Ukraine territories while the Russian forces continue to press on. Researchers told congressional members that the fight is at a critical moment. Our Washington, D.C. correspondent Rachel Knapp reports.
We are at a pivotal moment in this war.
In a recent congressional hearing, the focus was on the conflict in Ukraine.
Currently, localized assaults are underway in Donetsk, Luhansk, and Zaporizhia oblasts, possibly to bring these regions under full occupation and to keep Ukrainian forces engaged.
Reports from the front lines say both sides are fighting hard for parts of Ukraine's eastern territory. Experts told senators they believe Russia will continue the fight for a long time to achieve Russian President Vladimir Putin's goal of conquering Ukraine altogether.
At a minimum, Russia wants to get total control of the Donbass region, the Donetsk and Luhansk provinces, which have been partially occupied by Russia since 2014. The next goal would be total control of 2 new regions, which he has declared are annexed to Russia, Kherson and Zaporizhia, an artificial red line. Then Putin might be willing to sit down and negotiate an agreement for a ceasefire. But make no mistake, that would only be temporary.
While other European allies have contributed to Ukraine's efforts, the U.S. has been the biggest supplier. Experts warn there's a growing sense of uncertainty abroad and at home of why the U.S. and our allies should continue to help Ukraine.
The reasons for American interest are many. The war threatens the American-led international order. We cannot be secure in our leadership role if we allow a war of regression to progress and persist in a major sovereign state with the potential of a Russian victory.
This is about international stability and a world in which rules are observed, rather than the disruptive world Putin wants, one where there are no rules.
At the Capitol, Rachel Knapp reporting.
Well, President Joe Biden wants to increase taxes to boost funding for Medicare and expand the program's ability to negotiate lower costs for prescription drugs. The president outlined his plan in a guest essay in the New York Times on Tuesday. The Medicare tax rate would raise from 3.8% to 5% on income exceeding $400,000 per year, including salaries and capital gains. The president is expected to announce more details in his budget proposal on Thursday during a visit to Philadelphia. Well, next, a local cheer group is headed to a national championship. We're celebrating the hard work of these young athletes.
You're watching WNY News Now, your source for breaking news.
I know what you're thinking. I need a job. I need a new career.
Well,
I've been there.
I've been there.
I've been there. I wasn't happy with what I was doing.
After high school, I didn't have a plan.
I just wanted to start working. I got laid off twice, but you gotta keep going.
You just need the right skills. Find an apprenticeship.
I found a 2-year IT program.
I found a medical course online.
I'm now a consultant in the tech space.
You have more options than you think. You can do this.
You will find something.
You will find something new.
Have you ever wanted to live out your dreams? Hunt, fish, in all corners of the earth? Well, now's your chance. Follow Primitive Patriot Outdoors as we live out our dreams and show you how to live out yours through outdoor adventures. From Western New York to Africa to all corners of the earth, follow us on this adventure. It's an experience you've never seen before. Lead and Lures, Roku TV, Channel 716.
WNY News Now is covering stories that matter to you.
This year's theme, Fire Won't Wait, Plan Your Escape, focuses on the importance of knowing your way out of a home or business in the event that a fire were to break out.
The Hullo Summer Festival in downtown Jamestown, and as you mentioned, the whole goal of this is to connect Jamestown's kids with things to do over the summer.
WNY News Now, where coverage comes first. You're watching WNY News Now, where coverage comes first.
A local cheer team is gearing up to travel across the country for a competition in just a couple months. Our Julia Gress is here with a look of preparations ahead of the nationwide competition.
After traveling to Florida last year and placing in the top 10 in their division, Samantha Robinson, owner and head coach of Explosion All-Stars, is heading back to the Sunshine State for an even bigger competition.
This is actually the biggest competition that they could ever attend, and you have to get it's called a ticket or a bid to attend it, and both of those teams this year actually leveled up and got the bid. So they will be going to the ESPN Center in Disney.
The two teams will be competing in the D2 Summit at the Varsity Cheer Competition in Disney World, with a total of 15 athletes ages 8 to 18 traveling. In the meantime, the groups are hard at work practicing.
They do 2-day practices for 2.5 hours. We do extra practices. Right now they're attending some local competitions that allow them to kind of get prepared for that big competition. A lot of training.
Athletes will need to adjust their performance for a larger stage, as well as prepare for the lights, cameras, and being on TV. Explosion's team is the only group from Ashoka County headed to the happiest place on earth. On April 28th, the cheer squad will host a team bonding event and performance for the Jamestown Jackals, followed by a send-off prior to the competition on Tuesday, May 2nd.
We're always looking for sponsors from the community. You know, our girls are always interested in seeing like their name, you know, saying good luck to Explosion All-Stars, because like I said, we are representing Jamestown and we're the only team in the area to do that. So anything that people want to do to help us to, you know, send the money for different things, the travel expenses, their admission, any of that stuff would be great.
Julia Gress, WNY News Now.
Julia, thank you. Now, Explosion All-Stars has both competition teams and classes for athletes age 3 to 18, which it's pretty nice to see Jamestown representation go way out of our area. It's something that we tend to talk about a lot here.
There's a local competition, cheer competition, coming up at the Northwest Arena next Saturday, I think, which will feature different cheer teams, so that'd be interesting to watch.
Quite will be. And now I know, Andrew, speaking of next week, you are talking about how our time is going to be springing ahead.
It's not going to really feel much like spring going forward, but at least it will start to look like spring out there when we have more daylight. When you set your clocks back Saturday night, when you wake up Sunday morning, and we have a new sunrise time of 7:34 in the morning, and the sunset will be at 7:19 p.m. at Sunday night, and we'll continue to gain sunlight up until the summer solstice in June.
Can't wait for that, Andrew. But that leaves us with all the time that we have for today. Remember that news continues on WNY News Now 24/7 on our mobile app and website. Download it for free today. And we'll leave you with this live look over Finley Lake. We'll see you next time on WNY News Now.